Did Israel Adesanya ruin Paulo Costa's career by knocking him out? Let's react to chael, sonnen and break this down while providing our own unbiased and unfiltered thoughts.
I understood that we tell Izzy Adesanya, great job, that was a great win. I never know that we were going to bury Paulo. Paulo came out and spoke after the fact, said, man, I had a few things going into that fight. And he told a very bizarre story, but we knew that he was being sincere, which was he could not sleep the night before, so he had a bottle of wine. He still could not sleep, so he had a second bottle of wine. He was fighting, he had a hangover.
If you think the best solution to your problem of not being able to sleep before a world title fight, your first world title fight on UFC Fight Island against an undefeated beast like Israel Adesanya, even though you're undefeated too, Paulo Costa, and you think drinking not one, but 2 bottles of wine is going to help resolve that issue, sure, it's going to put you on your ass, put you to sleep for sure, but you're going to fight hungover. You're going to wake up with a nice hangover. And that's exactly what happened. So it makes no sense to me why he would do that. Like, there's natural remedies. You can take magnesium. You can take other natural supplements that can help relax your body, relax your mind. Fucking meditate for 10 minutes. There's solutions around this. Like, there's ways around this. And it just shows such a low level IQ from Paulo Costa's part and his team and his stupid coach with glasses that I hate. I'm sure a lot of you guys hate. But whatever, nonetheless, it just shows the lowest IQ I've ever seen in my life.
And of all the excuses or weird tales that we've been told, we've never heard that one, and we knew that he was telling the truth, but the question still comes down to why. If you can't sleep the night before a fight to the point that you have to get drunk to try to induce sleep, maybe this isn't for you, maybe.
Also, another reason you got to take in is the fact that these two were cyberbullying each other to the max. Like, the amount of shit talking that was going on between Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa just on Twitter alone was just hilarious. And maybe Paulo Costa, it got him a little bit, because when you're talking shit, you better live up to it. When you're talking shit to your opponent, you're risking getting embarrassed and getting humiliated. And Israel Adesanya, I bet you didn't know he was going to hump him after he TKO'd him, but that happened, and that just infuriated Paulo even more, understandably so. But the shit talking really got to Paulo Costa. I'm not saying that Israel Adesanya was in his head. I guess in a way you could say that, but he just put too much pressure on himself, I think.
But that's not what I saw from Paulo Costa. I even saw a strength. Am I misinterpreting it, guys? I saw a strength in him able to come out, share this embarrassing moment with us, and tell us why next time's going to be different. Well, when next time finally came along, he missed weight. He missed weight against Vettori. They had to reschedule it, do it at 205 pounds. And that was like 2 times. I think he missed weight and agreed to 195, but then came back before it was time to go to scale, limited to 205 pounds. I know that I'm close on that, but the point is,
something that people aren't doing is giving Marvin Vettori enough credit for that, because he just wanted to fight him at any weight. He would have fought him at heavyweight if he could. And something that, I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but Paulo Costa was actually recommended by the California State Athletic Commission to move up to 205 pounds because he was cutting something crazy like 30 to 40 pounds.
Why? What happened? Where did you lose the discipline? How are you not making a weight that you've made in every other professional bout? Why is it different, and does it have anything to do with the loss? We're speculating, we're guessing. I think Paulo is a straight up terror. Now, I got to know Paulo through The Ultimate Fighter, and I saw how hard he worked. I saw how bad he wanted it. So I know that he's got this toughness, and I know that he's a success story. Being tough and mentally holding it together when times get rough is a totally different conversation, and it can rattle you.
I think for sure this rattled him because, again, going back to the shit talking these two were saying to each other, Paulo Costa kept saying, he kept referring to Israel as runner Sonia, saying he's skinny boy, he's going to make him cry, he's going to break his bones and stuff like that. And then Israel Adesanya TKOs him in the second round. And I think that really got to Paulo Costa. And I think that really still is present in Paulo Costa's mind.
When you believe something is true and you find out you were wrong, you will start to question, what else am I wrong about? What else am I certain are principles and ideals that I can count on in this life when I know I just got that one wrong? It's a process.
That's another thing. So like Paulo Costa, he's like, okay, I'm for sure going to beat Israel Adesanya because he's a skinny guy. Maybe he was thinking the same over wrestlers. Maybe he was thinking the same over guys like Marvin Vettori, who we just lost to again. Israel Adesanya, he probably underlooked him because he's not the most physically intimidating guy. And maybe Marvin Vettori, he just maybe underlooked his toughness and his grappling and think, oh, I have a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'll be able to, handle this guy easily. Maybe he overlooked him again. So maybe that's kind of like what chael's saying right now.
So as it pertains to Paulo Costa, I'm seeing great things here. I've always wanted him to go to 205. He made his run at 185. Rematches, I realize, are a little more common right now than they used to be.
A rematch that's getting talked about right now is Marvin Vettori. These guys are talking shit to each other on Twitter right now, saying, or at least Paulo Costa is. Paulo Costa is saying he needs that fight against Marvin Vettori again. And with the way the middleweight division is right now, it can definitely happen. It doesn't necessarily make the most sense, but with the way the division is playing out right now, it very well can happen again. And Paulo Costa at 205 would definitely be a lot better than at 185. Not cutting all that weight will always help you. You know, he's not getting any younger. Every weight cut's going to get harder.
There is certainly a path where he could get back to the championship, but it's going to involve one thing, which is being extremely busy. If a year goes by and you've only done one fight, oh, and by the way, it wasn't even in that weight class, you are not one step closer.
Yeah, of course, there's obviously a chance that Paulo Costa can get another crack at the title. He would just have to run through everyone and be very active. Exactly like Chael said. Look at what Kamaru Usman's doing. He's on a rematch tour right now, just going through the division again. So Israel Adesanya did that with Marvin Vettori already, and he's doing it with Robert Whittaker again. If Robert Whittaker beats Israel Adesanya, that's even a bigger opportunity for Paulo Costa to get a shot at the title. That's if he continues to fight.
Paulo Costa hasn't spoke to us as much as his manager has, and his manager has spoken in no uncertain terms to let us know his client, Paulo, will be staying at 185 pounds. But who is next and what is the delay? And does that have something to do with what Joe Rogan is talking about, where when you have a certain image and another guy that doesn't look like he can do the job comes out and does the job effectively and quickly, that it rattles you? Yeah, that probably does.
Definitely does. That definitely rattled Paulo Costa without a doubt. The fact that he got KO'd, he got dealt with, it was so dominant and not even close of a fight that we all expected it. We all expected it to be a war with Paulo Costa always marching forward. You know, we did have those cupping marks on, I believe it was his left ankle, so he probably did have a little injury, but in a fight camp, a 3-month fight camp, especially for a title, and you're a top contender, you got to go through some wars, and of course there's going to be wear and tear. The fighters always say it's a common thing that you never go into a fight 100%. It's just not realistic with the brutality you put on your body and your mind, but we're talking about your body right now, so it's just nearly impossible for that to happen.
So what? So what if that rattled Paulo? Paulo's a human being. He's got the right to have a dream and a goal and try to pursue it and have to face the next page, which is regret, embarrassment, questioning self. The question is, how long can he do it for?
Another thing is just if his dream was to become specifically the UFC middleweight champion of the world, then absolutely let him do that. Look at Charles Oliveira. This guy was like 6-6 in his first 12 UFC fights or something. He was not showing a lot of heart in his fights. He often quit a lot of the times. But, you know, Paulo Costa can definitely turn it around exactly like Charles Oliveira did. It's definitely possible. This guy's a beast. He's an amazing fighter. He's entertaining. And that's why you shouldn't sleep on him, because he can definitely turn it around.
Then you have Paulo Costa, who looks fantastic, who even in his return fight, whether he missed weight, whether he didn't win the fight or not, was still a main event. This is a big deal. This is a big draw.
Okay, so with the big draw part, I don't think he's a big draw. Big. Like, when I think big draw, I think of Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is obviously on a list of his own, but he's definitely still a fan favorite, I would say. He definitely generates a lot of interest from, like, the more hardcore, you don't have to be a diehard fan. Diehard fans are different, but, like, a more average UFC fan. Not a casual, a couple steps up even from that. Because Paulo Costa, if you're on MMA Twitter, he is hilarious on MMA Twitter, especially with that lead up to Israel Adesanya fight. Hilarious. He's just a walking meme, this guy. He's just funny. He pokes fun at himself even. His broken English is just hilarious. And just his fighting style will generate interest. So just that presence will get the attention from the casual fan, which proves why he should be in a main event if he keeps winning. You know, if he goes on a huge losing skid like Tyron Woodley, he'll probably still be on the main card, but he's still going to have interest around him.
Damn, it's going to be a long night. Yeah. You know. I said, damn, it's gonna be a long night.